matter what you're doing, you just keep moving. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, wiggle. It don't matter what you do, just keep moving. You know what I'm saying? And then like, what's crazy is like, what's crazy is that we want our result to happen at the same rate as which, you know, the desire for the result showed up for. Like, let me make that make sense. Like when that want hits you in the face, you want that result the next day. And you know what I'm saying? I had the chance to experience this myself, just like me just getting my degree in kinesiology. Like the desire for that degree hit me, but I wanted the degree the next day. But I understood that there was some steps that had to be taken. All that really just came from is really like my homeboy Drop, who I was talking to, you know, earlier today on the phone, because his son is getting into the coaching business and he wanted me to link up with him and stuff like that. He was like, Chris, yo, you know, we from the same neighborhood. Like my son's getting ready to walk down this path, you know, yada, yada, yada. I just want to put him in the right hands. And I was like, bro, I get it. You know, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Cause like, that's what we do for each other. Like neighborhood kids that grew up together. Take care of each other like that. And so I was rapping with him, and he was the one that actually sparked me to get me on this path of trying to become a physical therapist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was cold-blooded what he did. He was like, you know, it just was like, Chris, this was, I'm literally talking like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It'd be, 10 years ago. Now it'd been longer than that. I started like 2007 in pursuit of this. So in 07, Drop hit me with something. And you know what I'm saying? He just was like, bro, you know, to be cold-blooded. And I was like, what's up, Drop? And Drop has always been a hustler in the neighborhood. Just a cool-ass Italian dude, just a hustler from day one. And he was like, Chris, you know, be cold-blooded. I was like, what's up, Drop? He said, no, we don't have in our crew. I was like, what's up? He said, we don't have nobody named. We don't have nobody we call Doc. And I started laughing, right? I was like, man, Drop, get out of here. He said, no, to be sound dope, Dr. Thompson. And I was like, oh, Drop, you're on to something there, baby. You might be on to something there. And he was like, Chris, think about it. You're the only one that we can call doctor in the crew. And I was like, Dr. Thompson do sound kind of cold-blooded. Do sound good. Says do sound good. And he was like, just think about it. You going to a bar and you hanging out, you chilling. We call you Dr. Thompson. And I was like, oh yeah, they gonna come running, dog. They gonna come running. So that was my motive. But he made it sound so good that I was like, let's go chase it. Let's go become a doctor of physical therapy. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? And so I just jumped on this journey of pursuing becoming a doctor of physical therapy. Now, mind you, when I jumped on this journey, right? I ain't think it was gonna take me 7 years to get a 4-year degree. See, when I jumped on the journey, it was all about just trying to become a doctor and to get some bras. I ain't even gonna front. I wanted the doctor title just so I could get some bras. I ain't gonna lie. That's why it sounds so good. So I jumped on this journey to become, you know, a doctor of physical therapy. And right out the gate, the journey started at a community college. Like I had been to a couple of different colleges already. And I was like, man, I'm starting over from scratch, from day one, from scratch. So I jumped into Gateway's community college program because I was going to do the 2-for-2 program. Do 2 years at Gateway, take care of the base credits and stuff like that, and do the other 2 years at ASU. Well. Little did I know that life had a bunch of curveballs it was going to throw at. See, I hit Gateway flying because I already had previous educational experience. So I hit Gateway flying. I'm like, this community college ain't nothing. I went to a university. Like, let's go. So jumped into Gateway. I'm flying. Boom. Soaring like an eagle through Gateway. Knocking out courses. Like they pretty much was like asking me to be a tutor at a Gateway because I was knocking out so many courses so fast. But not only that, I was just really prolific with math because I previously went to school to be an accountant. So it wasn't no big deal for me to jump in Gateway, start knocking things out. Boom, just knocking things out. Then all of a sudden, like life started. I got into a new relationship. I got divorced from my first wife, started a new relationship with Taj, and life just started lifing. So by the time I hit ASU, everything, all the brakes got put down. Like I could no longer fly. I had to start jogging and walking. See, inside a new relationship with Taj, you know what I'm saying? Inside of that game, like I had to stop doing a lot of stuff I was doing. Like I couldn't go work 60 hours at U-Haul and then go work and then go to school for another 15 hours and totally neglect my relationship. Like a lot of things had to come to a crawl. So whereas before I was working at U-Haul, I was working like 50, 60 hours. Boom, leave U-Haul, go straight to ASU. At that point, I was taking like 15, 16 credit out, getting my brains bashed in, come home, study, rinse and repeat all over again. Well, it was taking a toll on Tasha and I's relationship because I had never had any time to spend with her. If I wasn't working, I was schooling. If I wasn't schooling, I was working. So my relationship with her took a beating, massive beating. And then when things started going sideways at home and stuff like that, like then like stuff started falling apart in school. Like I failed a couple of courses like 2 or 3 times. Physics, I failed 3 times. I had to take it 3 times before I passed. Another course, I think I want to say it was human physiology of sports. It was something along that nature, but I failed that 3 times. It was some parts inside of this journey of getting a bachelor's degree in kinesiology where I had to wiggle. Like I literally had to wiggle because I couldn't fly and I couldn't soar because there were so many obstacles in the way. Now, by the time I get through all these obstacles, I get through working 50, 60 hours at U-Haul. I get through like trying to patch up my relationship with Ty. I get through like burning through I can't even tell you how much money I spent, how much money I borrowed for a 4-year degree in 7 years. Like by the time I went through all of that, all those sacrifices, all of that, I finally graduate, right? I finally graduated. And when it was time to go walk, guess where I was at? I was at work. I was at work at U-Haul when it was time for me to walk. And here's what's crazy. I ain't even care about walking. All I wanted them to do was to send me my damn paperwork. So by the time like I got my paperwork from U-Haul and stuff like that, like once I got my degree and everything like that, and then here's what's real crazy. I ain't even hating the bitch up. The shit's sitting in the closet right now. I ain't even care about it. I really didn't care about it once I got the degree because I knew that it was just nothing more than a stepping stone in order for me to actually try to become Dr. Chris Thompson. So like, as you like pursuing this, as you diving into this thing, into this macro game and stuff like that, like your thoughts are gonna be running, but your skill set is gonna be crawling. And that's where the two don't match up at. Like you're gonna have to allow your skills to catch up with your thought. The same way I had to wait 7 years of wiggling, 7 years of crawling, 7 years of walking, 7 years of flying. Now inside this game of like coaching and health and fitness, like I'm running. But the main objective here is you gotta keep moving. You gotta be willing to wiggle when that's all that's left inside of you is to wiggle. Like you gotta be willing to wiggle. Like when it's time, like if you know you suck at prepping food on Sunday, Monday, whatever days you decide to do your meal prep, if you know you suck at it, you got to be willing to wiggle during that tough phase of that until you can start running that because you're going to need practice. That's all wiggling is. It's just practice. Does it suck? Yeah. For those of you who have kids, you watch your baby play on the floor and them, they try to learn how to crawl. They wiggle first and they start crying. And then finally they figure out how to get that knee and hand underneath them and then they take off. So just think of yourself like you're just an infant at this game. You're wiggling. You're trying to learn how to crawl. Some things you already know how to, some things you know how to run at, some things you know how to fly at. But to put the whole package together, put it all together, as far as on the psychological aspect of it, on the execution aspect of it, and actually like telling yourself you need to do this, you're crawling. And you got to be willing to crawl. You got to be willing to wiggle, then crawl. You got to be willing to crawl to run. You got to be willing to run to fly. But it all starts out with you being willing to make some different food choices besides work at McDonald's. Can I take your order? You got to be willing to make some other choices besides that. Trust me, every last one of you are going to fly at it. I've watched it happen a million times. So just be willing to get your skills to match your thoughts. Once your skills match your thoughts, you're gonna take off. Skills match with thoughts, and then you top it off with some execution. It's a done deal. I can turn my camera off and just let one of y'all run the meeting. It's a done deal like that. So just be willing, man. Just like truly be willing your skills to match your thoughts. Allow your skills to catch up to your thoughts, and once you allow your skills to catch up to your thoughts, you off to the race. Ain't nothing else to talk about. Nothing else to talk about after that.